Ezra 4:1. Vayishma'u tzarei Yehuda uVinyamin, ki b'nei Hagolah bonim heichal, Lashem Elohei Yisrael. In this context, we've just finished with the people celebrating tabernacles at the new altar. And there was a mixture of crying and rejoicing together. And they heard. And then the subject is spelled out. The enemies of Judah and Benjamin. And they heard that the people of the exile, or the returned exiles, were building the temple to the Lord, the God of Israel. Vayishma'u. Now we see all three root letters showing here: Shin, Mem, Ayin. And we have a fairly standard format. This is a kal, excuse me, and this is a vav, consecutive imperfect, and we can see the subject pronoun at the prefix and the suffix. This is a 3MP, and the subject is spelled out, the enemies of Judah and Benjamin, and they heard. Bonim, and we can see two root letters showing, Beit and Nun. And what's missing here is at the end, that is the Hey. This is a Lamed Hey verb, so named because the last root letter is Hey, and it tends to come off in a circumstance like this. Now we can see by the pointing, we're looking at a kal participle masculine plural, building, and it implies a subject of they, that is the the returned exiles were building the temple. We'll pause and take a moment to consider the syntactical relationships of these verbs. Notice the participle is getting at an action. The returned exiles, they're building the temple. But notice that's not the main action. The narrative verb is really about the enemies of Benjamin and Judah. They heard. So we notice that the vav consecutive imperfect, the narrative tense, is then focused on this participle action, which is really an auxiliary verb that is just in the context, or really the direct object of what the enemies are hearing. So this really sets us up for an ominous beginning to this new narrative movement of the story.